Discover the incredible moment a groom exposed his bride's hidden betrayal on their wedding day. Jake stood nervously in front of the mirror, adjusting his tie beneath the flickering bulb that hung from the ceiling. It was a simple home, the walls adorned with family photos, memories of laughter and love. Calloused hands trembled as he smoothed down his shirt, anticipation flooding his chest. Today, he was marrying Emily, the kind-hearted teacher who filled their small town of Maplewood with warmth. Sunlight streamed through the window, illuminating the moment. A perfect day for a perfect union, a day he couldn't wait to share with family and friends. As he approached the community church, the aroma of homemade goods wafted through the air. Local hands had crafted decorations, each a testament of love from neighbors who had lifted each other through thick and thin. As he stepped inside, he could see the familiar faces of friends, the joyful expressions painting pride in their hearts. But beneath the surface, something dark loomed over him like a storm cloud on a sunny day. Jake's heart raced when he caught Emily's phone buzzing ominously on the communion table. A message flickered across the screen from a name he recognized: John, a wealthy businessman from out of town. A chill coursed through him. Against the backdrop of wedding vows and promises, a valley of doubt expanded within. Emily had always been so dedicated to her students, but he trusted her completely. Had he been blind? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that is happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let us continue. Emily smiled brightly as she walked down the aisle, but all Jake saw were those messages, the vibrant colors of the decorations blurring into dull shades. Standing together, surrounded by the love of their community, he felt an overwhelming wave of emotion rise within him. The weight of their shared dreams pressed hard against his heart, every late-night conversation echoing in his mind. With the minister leading the ceremony, vows were exchanged. But when he caught Emily's eye, he saw something different, an unsettling flicker of fear. Gathering his courage, Jake interrupted, his voice rising above the gathered whispers. Emily, I need the truth. Is it true? Have you betrayed us? The words exploded in the room, sending gasps ricocheting off the walls, the air thick with tension and disbelief. Every face turned to them, the string of love they had all believed in now fraying dangerously. Jake's anger brought forth love, loyalty, and ambition all in a single heartbeat. The question hung in the air: could he find the strength to confront his own heartache? As silence hung like a heavy fog, everyone held their breath, unsure if they would witness forgiveness or fracture. Behind the smiles, would they discover what love truly meant, or would they watch a dream dissolve into shattered pieces? In that pivotal moment, Jake realized he was at a crossroads, and the weight of unresolved betrayal lay thick upon him. As the townsfolk observed closely, the fervent question remained: can redemption ever truly emerge from the ashes of betrayal, or will fidelity be lost forever? The silence spilled like thick smoke, wrapping itself around Jake and Emily as the weight of the question hung there, a dangerous rock teetering on a precipice. The breaths of the onlookers caught in their throats, 100 eyes tracing the unraveling story of a love they thought they knew. Emily's smile faltered, her hands trembling at her sides. Jake, please, let us talk about this later, she whispered, her voice barely rising above the murmur of confusion. Later? We're getting married, Emily. I deserve to know. His heart was racing, and every beat echoed the denial and betrayal clutching at his throat. The weight of the gathered townsfolk felt suffocating, their gaze focused, narrowed, eager. What should have been a moment of joy had mutated into a battlefield of emotions. The minister cringed, clearly grappling with the unfolding chaos. Perhaps we should take a moment. No, Jake shouted suddenly, his voice raw with urgency. We can't skip past this. Not now. He turned back to Emily, searching her eyes for a hint of the woman he loved. Just tell me the truth. Is it John? Tell me what's really going on. Her breath hitched as she searched for the right words, but they never came. Instead, pain settled in her gaze like a storm waiting to break. I didn't want you to find out like this. What do you mean? It felt like the earth had shifted beneath him, his foundation cracking at the edges. How long has this been going on? With each question, the crowd leaned closer, hanging on the edge of their seats. There was something almost hypnotic about the worry woven into their expressions: concern for Jake, disbelief towards Emily. Please, just let me explain. She took a step back, almost as if she were physically distancing herself from the shards of truth being revealed. But Jake wouldn't let her. He stepped forward, desperate to pull her back into their shared world. Explain? How can you explain lying to me on our wedding day? Was all he could manage, his heart slamming against his ribcage like a trapped animal. She looked down, her shoulders quivering with unspent tears. I never meant to hurt you. John. The first thought, he was just a friend at first. Someone I could turn to when the weight of everything became too heavy. The truth, raw and jagged, spilled from her lips. I was under pressure, Jake. I didn't want to burden you more, with all the planning and the stress of life. It didn't mean anything. I swear it didn't mean anything. He could hardly believe what he was hearing. That's your justification? A tight knot of sorrow clutched at his heart. Memories of laughter, late-night promises, and dreams for tomorrow twisted into a heavy fog of anguish. In the depth of his despair, Jake felt his voice tremble. Was it all a lie? Every moment we shared? Never. It was real. It still is, she pleaded. Yet the conviction in her eyes had dimmed. A deep breath filled with the aroma of flowers and baked goods couldn't wash the bitter taste from his mouth. He felt exposed, vulnerable before everyone who had come to celebrate what should have been a joyous occasion. Doubt swirled around him like a tempest. I need time, he finally murmured, his voice cracking. Time to think. He turned away, unable to face the eyes of their friends, their community. As here, in the shadow of betrayal that once shimmered with love, he felt utterly lost. As he walked out of the church, leaving the chaos behind him, one haunting thought loomed large: could he ever trust her again? Tension buzzed in the air like electricity. The storm wasn't over. What would it take to rebuild the trust they had shattered? Would love be enough to hold them together again? Or would this be the end of Jake and Emily? The sun beat down on Jake's back as he stepped outside, the heat contrasting sharply with the chill wrapping around his heart. He leaned against the weathered wooden railing of the church steps, feeling the vibration of quiet murmurs behind him. The world inside felt like it was spinning out of control, while out here, everything felt eerily still. He took a moment to glance at the horizon, where the sky met the fields. A patch of wildflowers danced gently in the breeze, vibrant yellows and blues, carefree and untouched. It made the knot in his stomach tighten even more. How could he reconcile such beauty with the devastation rattling his core? Footsteps crunched on the gravel, pulling him from his thoughts. It was Sarah, his older sister, her brow furrowed with concern. Jake, are you okay? She placed a hand on his shoulder, her voice soft and steady. No, I'm not okay, he shot back, frustration bubbling over. I just found out the woman I was about to marry was lying to me. How am I supposed to be okay with that? Maybe you need to talk to her, she suggested, hesitantly. Emily loves you. She didn't mean for any of this to happen. Loves me? He laughed bitterly, shaking his head. If that's love, then what was I living in? A fairy tale? Because this feels like a nightmare. People make mistakes, Jake. It's what you do next that counts. She paused, searching his eyes for understanding. You have to decide if it's worth fighting for. He felt the weight of her words hanging in the air. Was it worth fighting for? Emily had been his rock, his heart. But the vision of her confession replayed over and over, like a broken record, ripping through every lovely moment they shared. I don't know, Sarah, I don't know if I can get past this. As he turned away, the thought of returning to the church made him uneasy. He could almost sense the collective gaze of the townsfolk, their sympathy, and whispers of judgment. He closed his eyes, trying to block it all out as he sought clarity within the mess. Listen, Sarah continued, her voice unwavering. Sometimes the hardest things are the most important to face. Emily's not perfect, but neither are we. You both have to own this. Jake felt tears prick at the corners of his eyes. But how do I trust her again? What if it's not worth the pain? What if you find something even stronger on the other side? She challenged gently. You won't know unless you take the leap. But if you walk away now, I'll always wonder. He finished, the truth settling like lead in his chest. Shifting his weight, he felt the gravity of that choice pressing down, heavier than he anticipated. Did he love Emily enough to confront the heartbreak and face the chaos? He looked back at the church, the echoes of their dreams trapped within those walls. Could he really go in there again, heart open, ready to truly listen? A flicker of hope tried to ignite amidst the wreckage, but the fear of disappointment loomed larger. I need to think, he muttered, though a part of him wished he could run back to her, wrap her in his arms, and drown the pain with their love. As he stood there, wrestling with his emotions, a familiar figure emerged from the church, hesitant yet determined. It was Emily, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. She took a deep breath and started walking towards him, every step echoing like a tolling bell. What would she say? Would there be an explanation that could mend what was broken? His heart raced as she drew closer. Would they find a way back to each other? Or was this truly the moment that defined their lives? Emily stopped just a few feet from Jake, her eyes searching his face, a silent plea radiating from her. The air wrapped around them, thick with unspoken words and heavy emotions. For a moment, they both stood there, caught in each other's stare, as if the world around them had faded away. Jake, she began, her voice trembling slightly, barely above a whisper. He held his breath, still processing the hurt echoing in his mind, the pain of betrayal cutting deeper than any words she might offer. You lied to me, he said, the accusation hanging in the air like a storm cloud. I know it looks that way, she responded quickly, but Jake could see the tears welling in her eyes. But please just let me explain. Explain what, Emily? How you deceived me. The bitterness bled into his words, his heart racing as emotions twisted within him. He felt a wave of anger and sadness fighting for dominance. I didn't mean for it to happen, she pleaded, stepping closer, her hands trembling at her sides. It was supposed to be perfect. The wedding, the future, everything. I never wanted to hurt you, so it was all in your head? He shot back, frustration bubbling within him. You acted like we were the perfect couple, and then this. Her face crumpled as she let out a shaky breath. It's complicated, Jake. There were things happening that you didn't see. I never wanted to keep anything from you, then why did you? The question burst from him like a verbal lash. He hated how vulnerable he felt, fighting against the sting of betrayal enveloping him. Because I was scared, she admitted, her voice barely holding together. I love you so much, and I thought if I told you the truth, I would lose you. Emily. He felt the frustration shift to a weary sadness. The weight of her fear was palpable. You should have trusted me. She took a step forward, her hands reaching out as if to bridge the gap between them. I know, I failed you in the worst way, but please just give me a chance to make it right, to share everything. I want to show you how much you mean to me. Jake glanced around, the townsfolk watching them from a distance, each face a reminder of the secrets unraveling in front of their eyes. The thought of their whispers, the weight of judgment, pressed down on him, yet looking at her now, all he could see was the girl he fell in love with. Trust is built, Emily. It's not just handed over when things get tough, he said, his voice softer now despite the lingering tension. What you did, it shattered that trust. I don't even know where to begin. Her cheeks flushed with raw emotion, tears spilling down her face. Then let us begin together. I'll do whatever it takes. I can't lose you, Jake. The warring emotions within him began to meet at a crossroads, raw and confusing. Did he want to fight for this? To unravel the chaos together? Or was walking away the easier choice? He took a deep breath, contemplating her words, weighing his heart against the ache of betrayal. What if he stepped forward with her? What if believing in their love offered a chance at healing? Jake? She asked, her voice quivering with hope. "What do you say?" For the first time, he saw the flicker of hope in her eyes, and it ignited something deep within him. But with hope came a rush of uncertainty. Could he truly do this? Just as a decision began to form, a thunderous clap of thunder echoed in the distance, rattling the air around them and severing the moment like a sudden storm. Would the clouds of doubt wash away their chance for a fresh start or drown it in the past? As the first drops began to fall, the question hung between them. Was there still a path to forgiveness, or would the storm disperse them forever? The first drops hit the ground, splattering against the dusty pavement, quickening the heartbeats of both Emily and Jake. The world seemed to come alive around them, the rustling trees stirring in the wind, the distant chatter of the gathering crowd muted by the sudden downpour. Each drop felt like a heartbeat, a reminder that time was slipping through their fingers. "Jake, please don't let this rain drown us," Emily urged, her voice trembling amidst the clatter of raindrops. She stepped closer again, swirling emotions swirling just behind her eyes. Misery, hope, regret, they all flickered like candlelight in the pouring storm. "Your actions put us here, Emily," he said, the weight of her betrayal still heavy on his heart. His mind raced as each heartbreaking memory surfaced, moments of laughter, plans shared, kisses sealed with promises that now felt tarnished by her secrecy. "I know," she said, desperation creeping into her voice. "I get that, but if you just let me explain, I did it out of fear. Fear of losing what we have. I can't lose you, Jake." He let out a breath he didn't realize he was holding. "But that fear drove you to lie. It drove a wedge between us, and I feel like I don't know the woman standing before me anymore. Yet you're looking at me, Jake. The same girl who wants to build a life with you, who wants to fight for us." She cupped her hands around his, warmth radiating from her touch even amidst the chill of the rain. For a heartbeat, he let himself feel that warmth, but the storm inside him raged fiercer. Could he trust her again? Could they stand even stronger after this? Emily's love shone through the rain, but the scars from her betrayal were still fresh. "What happens next?" he asked, his voice steady though his heart was not. "Can love really heal this?" Emily's gaze locked on his, unwavering. "Let me show you, Jake. We can rebuild this piece by piece. I'll tell you everything. No more secrets. And if I slip, if I mess up again, then you'll have every right to walk away." "Every right," he repeated, sensing the sincerity in her words. The storm was becoming a downpour, but it felt as though the chaos around them mirrored the storm within him. Would he take her offer, or would he turn away, leaving them both drenched in regret? "Just give me this chance," she urged, desperation cutting through the turmoil. "I need you, and maybe you need me too." The pain in her eyes caught him like a raw nerve. He could see the sincerity, the determination to make things right, and it made his heart ache even more. But could love truly build a bridge over the chasm that had opened between them? With each fall of rain, memories danced in his mind, the good, the bad, the beautiful moments that had defined their relationship. His spirit throbbed with uncertainty, yet beneath it all flickered a glimmer of hope. He inhaled deeply and stepped closer, almost instinctively letting her warmth reach him. "Okay, fine. But this is it, Emily. No more lies. We start fresh from here." A smile broke through the storm on her face, a fragile, hesitant smile that felt like breaking dawn. "Promise. We'll do this together." As the rain poured down, washing away the remnants of yesterday, a new path opened before them, fraught with uncertainty, yet brimming with possibility. The shared weight of their hearts seemed to lighten. They held hands tightly, ready to face the chaos together. But just then, a shout broke through the rain, a voice from the gathering crowd, a curious neighbor or friend, calling out a name that made both their hearts drop. "Jake!" As he turned, dread washed over him. What if this moment of hope was about to be interrupted by another storm? Was the past really behind them, or were darker clouds gathering just out of sight? Jake's stomach twisted as he turned toward the voice, half expecting to see an old friend or perhaps a family member. Instead, it was Danny, a familiar face, but one that carried an aura of urgency. Rain continued to cascade down, but in that moment, The storm between Emily and Jake felt even heavier. "Jake, I've been looking for you," Danny shouted, his expression a mix of concern and confusion. The excited chatter of the crowd faded into the background, as Jake focused on the weight of his friend's gaze. "What is it, Danny?" Jake snapped, frustration rising. This was not the moment he needed to deal with interruptions, especially not with Emily standing right there, vulnerable and hoping for a lifeline. "You need to hear this." Danny hesitated, glancing between them as if weighing his words. "It's about Emily." A rush of memories swept through Jake's mind, the late-night discussions, the dreams they had woven together, the secrets and lies. He couldn't help but feel exposed in front of Danny, a shameful tension crackling between them. "Just say it." Jake's voice rose above the rain, urgency cracking through the fragile peace they had just agreed to build. Danny took a deep breath, gathering his thoughts. "I saw her with someone last week, someone from work. They looked pretty close." His words hung in the air, a sharp arrow aimed at Jake's heart. Emily's hand slipped from Jake's, and his pulse quickened. "You're lying," she accused, her eyes wide with the sudden shock pouring through her veins. "That's not true." "But I saw you," Danny shot back, disbelief evident on his face. "You were having dinner together, laughing like you used to with Jake." "No, it's different," Emily tried to explain, but her words faltered in the face of the mounting tension. The truth of her situation was unraveling before her eyes, and she felt the ground beneath her start to shake. "Different how?" Jake pressed, his heart racing with emotions more complex than fear. Hurt began clawing at him, reminding him of everything he had just decided to forgive. This couldn't be happening now, not when they were trying to heal. "Jake, stop." Emily stepped forward, desperation etched into her features. "Please let me explain." "For God's sake, Emily," he exclaimed, pleading with her to give him a reason to believe. "If it's true, how can we move past it? How can you expect me to trust you again?" His words seemed heavy like lead. In that moment, the rain felt colder, the world outside their bubble more distant. Emily's eyes glistened with tears, and the rain blurred the boundary between her pain and the storm raging above. "I was meeting with him to tell him it was over," she finally shouted over the pounding rain. "I thought he deserved closure, but I didn't tell you because I was scared. Scared of losing you all over again." The sincerity in her voice cut through the chaos, but Jake felt torn between belief and betrayal. His heart swelled with hope, but the thorny roots of doubt sank deeper. Could he trust her enough to believe this? Danny was still watching, a storm of his own brewing behind his sympathetic expression. "You need to decide, Jake. Really decide if you want to ride this out with her. Because if you don't believe this, if you can't find the faith to stick around, it'll never work." The words clenched around Jake's heart. Was he strong enough to face all this, to forgive again? Or was it already too late for them, with the storm of Emily's past spilling right into their present? In that fragile moment hanging between them, an unexpected sound broke through the downpour, a ring of a phone vibrating insistently in Emily's pocket. The noise jolted everyone back to reality, and for Jake, it felt like a question hanging in the air. What would she reveal next? Troubling fear throbbed in his temples. Would that call be the breaking point or the hope they desperately needed? Emily's phone continued to vibrate, a relentless reminder of the tension straining between them. She hesitated, her hand hovering over it like it was a live wire. Each ring felt like a ticking clock, counting down to an uncertain future. "Emily, answer it," Jake urged, his voice barely more than a whisper. The sudden urgency in his tone made her stomach flip, and she could feel Danny's eyes burning into her. With trembling fingers, she finally unlocked the screen. The name flashing on it sent a shockwave through her. Mark, the man she met for dinner to say goodbye. The deep breath she took felt like a surrender. She swiped to answer, her heart pounding against her ribcage. "Hello?" Her voice was barely audible over the rain and the echoes of unanswered questions. "Emily, is everything okay?" Mark's voice was steady, but she could sense the undercurrent of worry. "I tried to call you earlier." "Yes, I'm fine," she replied, her mind racing. She glanced at Jake, who stood frozen, eyes wide, all vulnerability on display. I was just busy. Busy? Mark questioned, confusion thick in his tone. Busy how? I saw you at the diner last week. Did I catch you at a bad time? Before she could respond, Jake stepped closer, disbelief merging with despair. This isn't the time, Emily, he shouted, the raw emotion twisting his face. You don't owe him an explanation. The split-second acknowledgement of Jake's emotions stirred something inside her, but she pushed it down. She needed to face Mark, to finally end whatever misunderstanding had begun between them. Mark, can you hold on a second? She dropped her voice to a whisper, trying to keep it together. After a moment's hesitation, she put the call on speaker, turning her whole world into an awkward triangle. Is this Jake? Mark asked, confusion evident as he recognized the voice behind her. Yeah, it's me, Jake replied, his tone sharp yet guarded, like a soldier on edge. You need to tell her you're done messing with her head. Now, no one's messing with anyone's head. Mark shot back, defensive. Emily was clear when we met. I was trying to give her closure on what we had. Closure? Jake scoffed, shaking his head as if he couldn't comprehend how far this had spiraled. This is about her and me, not you and her. Emily felt the weight of their stares, the rain drowning every word. Mark, please, this isn't about us anymore, she said, trying to maintain calmness. I was meeting you so I could finally end this. There was a moment of silence, where all three of them stood suspended in their own emotions. Then Mark's voice came back, softer yet piercing. You're sure? Because what I saw, it looked different. Emily flinched. What did you see? Please, just be honest. He posted a picture of you two together at the diner on Instagram. Mark said slowly. You laughing? It didn't seem like a goodbye dinner to me. Jake's expression darkened, the flicker of anger igniting deeper inside him. Did you really think this was just going to fade away? That those images don't matter? Emily turned to Jake, frustration bubbling beneath the surface. I didn't want this. I didn't want to hurt either of you. At that moment, the storm outside grew more furious, lightning slicing through the sky like a flash of clarity. In that swirling chaos, Jake's voice cut through sharply once more. You need to choose, Emily. Now, as the rain continued its dizzying dance, the three of them stood there in conflicting emotions: love, betrayal, fear, and hope, while lightning crackled overhead. The choice lay heavy in the air, ripe with consequence. Would she make the right decision? Would she risk everything to truly be with Jake? The weight of what was coming pressed against her chest, and she knew she couldn't delay any longer. But just as she gathered her breath to speak, another unexpected voice chirped in from the phone, this time from the other end altogether. Emily, please don't hang up. Who was this new voice? What truth lay waiting beyond the possible choices she could make? Emily's heart raced as she heard the unfamiliar voice on the line, a woman's voice laced with urgency. The air around them thickened with tension. She felt both Jake's glare and Mark's lingering concern weighing down on her. Who is this? Emily asked, her voice steady but laced with confusion. We need to talk. It's important, the woman insisted, a slight tremor betraying her otherwise composed tone. Jake glanced at Emily, distrust clouding his features. Do you know her? No. I have no idea who this is. Emily shot back, feeling panic rise. What's going on? Emily, listen to me. My name is Sarah. I know about Mark. The words tumbled out quickly, as if she were racing against the storm outside. He has been keeping something from you, and it's not just about a picture. Emily held the phone closer, her breath hitching. What do you mean? Just please, find a safe place to meet somewhere private. I don't want to say too much over the phone. I'm afraid they might be listening. There was a pause filled with static, the silence rolling like thunder. Who is they? She felt the tension coiling tighter. The voice quivered slightly before responding. Mark has been involved in something. Something that could hurt you. I just want to protect you. Jake stepped in, shaking his head. Don't listen to this. It sounds like a trap, Emily. But the alarm bells in Emily's mind clanged louder than Jake's objections. What does Mark have to do with any of this? Just meet me, please. I promise I'll explain everything, Sarah pleaded. Emily hesitated, torn between the burgeoning fear of the unknown and the urgent need for clarity. Did she trust this stranger or dismiss the whole thing as another layer of chaos? Emily, don't, Jake urged, frustration leaking into his voice. You can't run after every random call. What if she's lying? She might not be, Emily murmured, her gaze flitting between Jake's heated disappointment and the blank stare of the phone screen. If there's anything going on with Mark, I should know about. Look, Mark interjected from the speaker, tension threading his tone. I want you to ignore this. For all you know, it's someone just trying to stir trouble. The rain had turned into a downpour, hammering against the window, mirroring the turmoil swirling in her heart. Emily bit down on her lip, thoughts racing. She longed for closure, for clarity, but here they stood, tangled in a web of accusations and half-truths. The last thing she needed was to complicate matters further. Jake's voice softened, attempting to reach out to her again. This is your chance to cut ties. Focus on moving forward. But what if moving forward means leaving something behind that's worth holding on to? She whispered, almost to herself. A beat of silence passed before Mark replied, uncertainty creeping into his voice. Emily, I know this is hard, but don't let someone else dictate your choices. Make the decision that feels right to you. In her heart, Emily felt the stirring of something, a flicker of hope amidst the uncertainty. Perhaps this was the moment she could reclaim control, despite the external chaos enveloping them. But a nagging thought remained, deep-rooted and heavy. Who exactly could she trust? With trembling resolve, she took a breath. Sarah, where do you want to meet? Can you be at the coffee shop on 5th and Main in an hour? As she agreed, Emily's heart sank, the impending choice feeling heavier than ever. Was she breaking free, or stepping deeper into a mire of secrets? She looked at Jake and Mark, and the undeniable weight of heartbreak settled in her chest. What was waiting for her on the other side of that conversation? Would it illuminate the truth, or bury her further in shadows? In that moment, she realized the stakes were higher than she ever anticipated. And just as the chill of a haunting silence filled the air, another thought pierced her mind. What if her journey led her to a dark secret that could shatter everything she thought she knew? The rain continued to pour outside as Emily quickly gathered her things. Anxiety twisted in her stomach as she glanced once more at Jake and Mark. Jake's eyes were wide with concern, a mixture of determination and fear woven into his brow. Mark, on the other hand, looked troubled, as if the weight of unspoken words was crushing him. I'll be back, Emily said, her voice steadier than she felt. She stepped toward the door, the urgency pushing her forward. Emily, Jake's voice cut through the tension, soft yet firm. Please don't do this. I care about you. I know, and I care about you too, she replied, feeling a twinge of guilt wash over her. But I have to find out what's going on with Mark. If there's truth in what Sarah said. Emily didn't finish her sentence. She opened the door and stepped into the downpour, the cool rain hitting her skin, grounding her in the here and now. With every step, a battle raged inside her as she walked toward the coffee shop. The streets glimmered with rain, reflecting her fraught emotions. Arriving at the coffee shop, she pulled the door open and was met with the comforting aroma of coffee mingled with the faint remnants of cinnamon rolls. It was a stark contrast to the storm brewing within her. She glanced around, scanning for Sarah. Sitting in the corner, a woman with red hair and bright green eyes waited, tapping nervously on her phone. Emily's heart raced. This was Sarah. Emily? The woman called, spotting her. She stood up, her movements hesitant. I'm so glad you came. Tell me what's going on, Emily urged, her voice firm yet shaky, the weight of the moment pressing down on her. Sarah glanced around, ensuring no one was eavesdropping before leaning in closer. I know Mark has kept things hidden. I didn't realize how deep it went until recently. There's so much at stake, she whispered urgently, her voice barely above the cafe's ambient noise. Why should I believe you? Emily fired back, her eyes narrowing. What do you even know about Mark? I used to be involved with him, Sarah admitted, her voice trembling slightly. That's how I learned about the job he has been doing. It's dangerous, Emily. If he is involved in this, then you could be in real danger. Emily felt her stomach drop as Sarah spoke, each word like a heavy stone being dropped into the pit of her gut. Memories of quiet moments shared with Mark flickered through her mind, moments that now seemed tainted by this revelation. Danger? What kind of danger? Emily pressed, leaning in, her heart pounding in her chest. Before Sarah could answer, the coffee shop doors swung open, letting in a gust of wind and a soaked figure who was all too familiar. Jake. His eyes locked on Emily, filled with a mix of resolve and alarm. Emily, we need to go now, he said, rushing toward them. I shouldn't have let you come here alone. This is all wrong. Jake, wait. I'm trying to understand. Emily protested, feeling trapped between two worlds. Mark's secrets versus the truth Sarah was trying to unveil. Stop listening to her. Jake's voice raised, filled with urgency. You don't know what you're getting into. Emily felt the room spinning, like she was caught in a cyclone of emotions: trust, betrayal, fear, and a flicker of hope. What am I getting into, Jake? What don't I know? His expression faltered, and for a brief moment, Emily saw something in his eyes that made her question everything. Emily, he began, but he was cut off by a sudden commotion at the entrance. A loud argument spilling into the cafe. What's happening? Emily asked, her heart racing. Sarah, you should go, Jake urged, his face now a mask of concern. But Emily couldn't tear her eyes away from the chaos. It was all spiraling. Danger was tangible, and the truth she sought was right there, just beyond her reach. Just as she took a step forward, a loud crash echoed against the walls, and Emily felt the full weight of uncertainty close in around her. What if this was only the beginning? What if everything she thought she knew about Mark, about her life, was about to unravel? Confusion swirled like the rain pounding against the windows, blending uncertainty and urgency into a storm of emotions. Emily could feel both Jake's fiery gaze and Sarah's pleading eyes volleying for her attention, the weight of their latest revelations crashing down like the thunder overhead. The chaos inside the coffee shop was building. Voices raised, gesturing wildly, demanding her focus. It all felt surreal. Just hours ago, she was preparing to marry the love of her life, and now she stood in the eye of a hurricane that threatened to destroy everything she had built in Maplewood. Her heart raced as she faced two roads diverging in front of her. One led back to a life of comfort in Jake's arms, where love still flickered despite the dark clouds, and the other ventured deeper into a truth that could expose secrets long buried. Jake's expression hardened as he turned to Sarah, determined yet protective. You need to go, Sarah. If Mark is involved in something dangerous, things could get messy fast. Emily, we should get out of here. But just as Emily processed his urgency, Sarah cut in. You need to trust me, Emily. Mark has connections that are risky. If you're involved with him, you need to stay aware. And the commotion at the entrance escalated. A group of men, dressed sharply yet exuding an aura of intimidation, strolled into the cafe. Tension prickled the air, and all eyes shifted, as if a thunderous drum to signal impending danger had begun to beat, loud and echoing through the tightly packed room. Mark, one of the men shouted, his voice booming and commanding. Emily felt her blood run cold. The name struck a nerve, twisting deep within her gut. Mark, we know you're here. Jake's hand found Emily's, squeezing tightly as they both stepped backward, instinctively trying to retreat from the approaching storm. We have to move now, he urged, urgency clear in his voice, terror etched deep in his features. Emily, Mark's voice rang out, cutting through the mounting chaos, desperation mixed with a tinge of panic. Don't listen to them. Just stay where you are. Why should I? She yelled, feeling the ground shift beneath her as the storm of adrenaline coursed through her veins. The past few hours had seen anger, betrayal, and a flicker of hope turn into something tangible, a current of urgency that felt electric. You've kept secrets, Mark. What should I trust now? The fierce glint in Mark's eye faltered, casting his bravado into doubt. You don't know what you're dealing with, he exclaimed, his composure cracking. "I can explain everything. Please, just give me a chance." The approaching men advanced, their intentions unclear but looming ominously like a dark cloud hovering over her future. She glanced at Jake, whose grip on her hand remained firm. His voice lowered as he leaned closer. "We can fight this together, but we also need to be smart. Let us get out before it spirals completely." Emily felt the weight of the moment cage her in. The flicker of unresolved feelings for Mark sparked, but it was quickly doused by the steady warmth radiating from Jake. "I'm sorry, Mark," she whispered, heart pounding. "But I need to decide what's best for me, away from whatever secrets you hide." With her heart racing under the pressure of choices so heavy it felt like a weight on her chest, Emily turned and ran toward the exit with Jake right beside her as adrenaline surged. They burst through the doors, the thick rain hitting them like a cold slap, but the storm in Emily's heart felt even more turbulent. They sprinted down the sidewalk, urgency spurring them away from the danger lurking behind them. The minutes passed as they maneuvered through the winding streets, breathless and wide-eyed. Jake finally slowed against an old brick wall, his chest heaving, rain dripping from his hair. "Are you okay?" he asked, his voice steady but laced with concern. There was a moment of silence as they searched each other's eyes, recognizing the gravity of what had just happened. I don't know," Emily admitted. "I feel like everything is falling apart." The tension between them was electric. "But you took a step towards finding the truth," Jake said, his thumb brushing against her knuckles, grounding her. "That's worth fighting for. We can face this chaos together." Emily's heart swelled, tears forming in her eyes as hope began to rise like the sun breaking through a stormy sky. Perhaps the truth about Mark wasn't for her to discover alone, and together with Jake, they could navigate this messy, tangled web of emotions. The love that had been forged through their shared struggles felt unbreakable amidst the turmoil. She nodded, the fear washing away just enough to let resilience fill its place. "I choose us, Jake. I choose to confront this whatever it is together." At that moment, she felt a shift within her, as if wisdom and realization had finally taken root. She could be whole again. They could work towards rebuilding trust and love on stronger foundations. Holding each other's gazes, they recognized the storm had not been the end. It was merely a beginning. "Let us go back to the coffee shop," Jake said, determination filling his voice. "We can face it all. This is our moment to reclaim what we have." As they stepped away from the wall, a serene acceptance settled in. Together they would confront the truth. Stronger and united, they strode towards their future, eager to face whatever storms awaited them. Now, it's your turn. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us reach more hearts like yours. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Let us spread the love and truth together.